So, in about a week, I'm going to be getting the train from Edinburgh down to London to pick up a 1984 Trabant 601. If you're not familiar with what a Trabant is, it's a two-stroke air-cooled 600cc steel frame plastic body panelled car built in East Germany when it was under Soviet control. This particular one will have a year's MOT just put on it. However, it's been sat for quite a long time, doing fairly minimal miles each year, and I'll be driving it for over 350 miles over the course of probably 2 days or 3 days, depending on my progress. Now, what I've got here is not coffee in a tin, along with a suitcase full of spanners, penetrating oil, lithium grease, a socket set, cable ties, screwdrivers, pliers, etc. I also made these up. Now, while I was doing that, I thought this could be quite a good idea for anybody actually who's got an older vehicle, especially the classic car people, is to make these sort of, I guess the best way to describe them would be a stash tin. So these are two coffee tins. Now, I put these together quite quickly this afternoon. I think they can be improved, but this is the Mark 1 version, so to speak. I think to improve it, the way I would do it would be to line the tins with some very, very thin foam or rubber to keep the noise down of these rattling around, or just pack them better. So let's have a little look at what I've got in these. Now obviously you could tape the lids on if you wanted to. So to start with, I've got a spark plug tester. I've got two spark plugs for the Trabant, a small pick tool thing, spark plug socket which does fit the spark plugs of the particular car, a Sharpie, tyre tread depth gauge. This is a nifty little tool. It's for gapping spark plugs. It's got some various feeler gauges and a little file for cleaning up the electrode, and a little thing for hooking into the end of the spark plugs to gap them. Feeler gauges for the same, and points ignition. Roll of electrical tape. Some PTFE tape if I've got something leaking through a thread somewhere. This is the nozzle for the penetrating oil and the other bits and pieces that I've got, which are in the suitcase. Some bits of wet and dry sandpaper and some other sandpaper, handy for cleaning up contacts on things. So that's one tin. Now there is still space in that tin, so I can add more. And in this tin I've got a couple of larger sockets for wheel nuts. Now, this is going to make a mess, but bear with me. This is where I think I could get a bit better organised with this. Possibly bagging some of this stuff up might help. As I said, this is Mark 1. So, what have we got? Some wire. Various sizes of hose clamps. Tyre valve. Now, okay, I would need to get the tyre off the bead to change this at the roadside, but could come in useful. Some slightly thinner wire, 3 different colours there. What else have we got? Lots and lots of small cable ties. I've got larger ones in the suitcase, but just for the purpose of these sort of stash can things, some small ones will be handy. You can always join these together. What have we got? Rubber O-rings, fuel line hose clamps, a couple of different sizes. There's quite a few of them, in fact. But these things, plus these, are quite handy for like makeshift exhaust hangers, things like that. A load of nuts and bolts, varying different sizes, washers, electrical terminal connectors. These are handy if you have something like a clutch or throttle cable snap. If it's somewhere that's accessible, where it's snapped, then you can join the cable back together using one of these, or two of them, because what you can do is you can overlap the cable and then have two connectors. I've used this fix before for a throttle cable, and it worked a treat and it got me home. So some of them, not only are they handy for electrical stuff, but throttle and clutch cables. More nuts and bolts, split pins of varying different sizes. These are also quite handy for like bridging connections on electrical stuff if you need to, for something awkward. So a huge load of different bits and pieces there. I've got some nylon washers for things on carburetors, some more rubber O-rings of different sizes, large ones, small ones. Just varying different bits and bobs, and they all fit into these two tins. I'll not bother repacking them to show you because you saw that the stuff was in there. So I think what I can do to improve this is to bag up individual things. So say have a small bag for electrical connectors, a bag for washers, a bag for nuts, a bag for bolts, because otherwise I'm going to have to empty these all out to find what I'm looking for. But I thought it was an interesting concept, having some tins with lids on them. You could put a bag of silica gel in here as well and then tape the top on, and packed in well somewhere where they're not going to rattle around. Could be pretty handy. Just keep them in the boot with the spare wheel or something, and you never know when something like this might come in useful when you've got an older vehicle that's not full of diagnostic stuff and is likely to go wrong. So wish me luck for my Trabant rescue mission. How hard can it be, as they say. Cheers.